Day 82. Learn how to say no. I actually have two different examples for driving this point home. One is from my personal life, and the other one is from a friend. So I'll tell you mine personal first. And this involves this is the way that I'll introduce this first one. Obviously, this is about learning how to say no, putting up some kind of boundaries. But another way of saying this is don't say yes to everything. So I am a modern day Renaissance man. I have a lot of skills across a wide variety of different fields and different occupations. I don't know, very few entrepreneurs really pigeonhole themselves into just one industry. You kind of know a little bit about a lot of things. So, long story short, I model part-time. And I'll never forget when I first got started, I had a gig that I had to rent a car for in one part of California. California is a very big state. And literally, 3 or 4 days before that gig was going to start, my agent called me and asked me if I would be down for a gig the day before. So it would be this new one, would be a 1 day, and then it was the 2 days immediately following. Here's the kicker. They were on opposite sides of the state. So San Diego and Reno, which is on the border with Nevada. And the thing is I was under no obligation to do this. He very much gave me the option. It was very much last minute. I made the stress on myself thinking, I want to make a good impression on this guy, on this agency, on my agent. I had just gotten started doing this, right? So I immediately said yes, even though I knew that San Diego and Reno were nowhere near each other. And then as the date approached, I realized what exactly I had committed to. And rather than, again, I had already given my word, I wanted to give a good impression on these people. And so I went ahead and did it, even though I did it, it was successful, but it literally almost killed me. Not actually, but no, way too much driving in way too little an amount of time. And most importantly, not really worth the actual dollar figure that I ended up making, okay? So that's one example. Obviously, that might be a more extreme example. And I'm sure many of you are saying, I would have never agreed to that to begin with. Okay, fine. Let me give you my second example. And this is a friend who has a big following and a very involved in the community in the Bay Area. This person has a comrade, as a friend of this person, who always shows up to their events, every single one. Very huge supporter of all this person's events, right? So then once upon a time, this person who's a huge supporter asks my friend who puts on these events to attend one of their events. And my friend, because this person is a huge supporter, felt obligated to say yes, even though they knew that it was exhausting. They knew that there was no way that they'd be able to do it, but there was this obligation because this person had shown up to them. And this illustrates points that I've talked about in other videos, where we are more willing to do things for other people sometimes than we are for our own damn selves. And I'll never forget the conversation that I had with this person, where I knew what it would take for them to attend and to promote, to do what this other person was asking them. Obviously, I'm being intentionally not using specifics or describing characteristics to protect everyone's privacy. But ultimately, what I realized, what I explained to my friend is that you might be saying yes, but you're really saying no. And it oftentimes plays out one of two ways. One, you're not there 100%. You're not giving it 110% effort that you're known for because you're exhausted, because you're tired, because your mind is occupied, because you have other things you should be doing. So you're kind of already saying no, even though you said yes. And then, and or two, which they're not mutually exclusive, they're very much related. The person recognizes and realizes that you're not, or even if they don't recognize it or realize it, but you actually become a burden, which is even worse, which is like a notch up from you kind of being distracted and not being there 100%, but you actually become a burden to this person's efforts, to their event, etc. So for those two reasons, you should learn how to say no, okay? If it's not enough that for your own sake, right, that you don't want to burn out, that you have more important things to do, etc., or you know what I'm saying, that you can't push yourself, you know, we're all human. If that's not enough of a motivation to say no, then think about it the other way and realize that you don't want to be a burden to this person and in any way an impediment to what they're trying to do. So for those reasons, learn how to say no.